In this final phase of the calendar design, we want to go through and set up each individual page for our calendar. Now we've been working in the parent page. Let's double click on page 1 to go into our regular spreads. You can see each one has the same repeating design for each. Now this very first page represents the cover of our calendar, and we want this to not have a date on it. We want it to be completely blank. The easiest thing we can do for this is to simply choose page 1, and you can drag on the None parent page on top of it, and that'll clear it away, making it work really well. If you wanted, you can also go down to the very last page, in this case page 26, and you can apply that parent page to page 26 because that'll be our back cover. Now let's scroll all the way back up and go to our first spread, which is on pages 2 and 3. Naturally, we want to be able to rotate this so that we can see it a little bit more like it would be actually hanging. Remember, you can select your spreads. This time you can either right click or control click on it. Go to the page attributes and let's rotate the view 90 degrees. Now it's going to be a little bit easier to work. Since we've used parent pages, we need to unlock or override all of the information on these spreads. So inside of your Pages panel, make sure you've got the spread selected. You can then go up to the Page Options and tell it to override all of the parent page options. Since I had those pages selected, now I can go in and I can move and change things around. Now there's no particular order these pictures have to be in, so I'm going to select and delete away the picture. I've kept the frame selected. Go to File, down to Place, and let's choose any other picture that I want to put in here. So let's do it for this one. Again, once it's placed in here, you may need to go to Auto Fit and fit it correctly to here, and if necessary, you can select it and move it up and down until you get it nice and framed out. Next, we can go down to our month. Since January is the 1st, I'm going to go ahead and just keep that there. That's okay. But we need to change out the information in our metadata. Hey, before I do this, let's establish a paragraph style for each one of these. I'm going to highlight my text up here at the top. This will be the caption's title. So again, go to Type, and let's open up our paragraph styles. I'm going to create a new paragraph style for this one, and I'm going to call this my caption title. And this will be our caption body copy. So let's make a new paragraph style for it. And we'll say OK. Now with this done, it's going to be a little bit easier to format this. And if you want, you can go to Object, to your caption setup. We're going to keep the same setup over here, but this time I'm going to change my paragraph style to automatically put it to be the caption's body. We'll say OK to this. Now, when I go to Object and I've got my picture selected, I can generate a caption, a static caption. It's already got the body copy formatted. All I need to do is to place this down here and change out my style for my headline. So there it is here. I'm going to highlight it. And now I can use my paragraph styles to change the caption title. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now I can change out all of the dates that are in here. This part's going to be kind of tedious, but that's okay. It's going to take this one at a time. You need to have access to a calendar for next year. So whatever year it is now, we're making one for next year. Got one already pulled up, and I just did a quick Google search for it. I can see January starts on a Thursday, and it's got 31 days in the year. So all I'm going to do is go through and delete away any unnecessary text boxes that I need, and then I can highlight my text and type in the numbers for each one. Again, this will be tedious, but once it's finished, it'll all come together. So take some time and go through all of your dates. Backing out, you can see this looks pretty good now. Finally, if there's any important dates that happen on this particular month, we can go in and we can add that as well too. So I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm simply going to drag off a text box and type in New Year's, and I'll quickly format this one. In my case, maybe we'll put it in something real thin, a little bit smaller, and let's set it inside of this date. We'll align it down here at the bottom. With this month done, it's a simple matter of repeating the process for any other month. So let's do it for February as well. I'm going to scroll down, zoom out. You can see February is still, so this is page or spread 4 and 5. Zoom in so I can see it. There we go. It's still rotated, so in our Pages panel, let's go to our Page Attributes, choose Rotate the Spread clockwise, so now we can see it. With both the spreads selected, we can go to the options for it and override all of the parent page items. Now I can go through and I can change out all of this. So once again, select your image. Let's drop in a new picture. I'm going to choose one that maybe doesn't fit very well. Let's choose like this one. In this case, you can see when it comes in, yes, it shows up well. If I tell it to automatically fit, however, I could get it to be really tall and skinny like this to show the entire thing, but then I got to figure out what do I want to put on the sides. If you wanted to do something like this, probably the simplest thing that you could do is just to fill in your picture box with a solid color. It can be a solid color like black, or you can use your eyedropper tool to pick out any other color from here. So let's say I picked up, say, this rusted red, and I applied it to here. Using colors that are native to the picture makes it a little bit easier to harmonize everything that you're working with. I kind of like that, so we'll go with that. Again, now I can come down here. This will be February. Need to adjust the size accordingly, so I can either make the size bigger or smaller, or I'm just going to make my text box be a little bit wider so that everything looks consistent. Let's pull on the metadata from this. So with it selected, go to Edit, go to Object. Let's generate a caption. From here I can cut this away. Let's paste it down here. Now I recommend cutting and pasting rather than just deleting away the entire box. This will keep everything consistent. Let's choose our title and let's apply a paragraph style for our caption title. Now we can go in and I can see February is going to start on a Sunday and end 28 days later on a Saturday. So from here, grab our type tool and type in each of our numbers. Since this particular calendar doesn't have an entire week down at the bottom, maybe I'll choose to adjust my calendar layout accordingly. So I can do something like drag up this bottom edge and delete away this one. That does leave me with a little bit of awkwardness down here, but hey, that's part of doing a calendar's layout. It's up to you how you want to format your design. With this done, let's add Valentine's to here. So February the 14th, we'll go up to this one. I'm going to copy over this particular date. So Command C, jump back here, and let's put Valentine's. Day. Now, once you get the hang of laying out all of your pictures, the last thing that we need to do for each of your months, the last thing we need to do is to go through and do any kind of color formatting that you may want for each of your months. You don't have to leave it black and white. Again, we can leverage our eyedropper tool to pick up some colors and apply it to our design. If you grab your eyedropper tool, you can pick up a color by simply clicking on the picture itself. In this case, maybe I'll pick up a kind of a rusty type red. If you hold down the Option key, this will let you pick up another color again, and I'm looking at my fill color that it's giving to me. With this done, I can highlight text now And you can see how it applies that color to the type or the text. If I don't like that, I can hold down Option and I can pick another color. Let's see if I can get this blue or something lighter like it. There we go. And I can highlight the text. And I can change that up. If I wanted to apply it to an object, I can also select the objects ahead of time. In this case, I'll select all of my dates, choose my eyedropper tool, and then I can pick a color from here, and you can see how it automatically changes those colors. Do this for each of your months as well. You can harmonize the text with the pictures that are up here. Let's do it for February. So once again, grab your eyedropper tool. You can hold down the Option key to pick up a color. Then you can highlight the text and place it in there. Or you can go ahead and pre-choose the objects you want. In my case, I choose the days of the week. Then I can use my eyedropper tool to hold down the Option key to pick up the colors. The last thing you need to do for your calendar is to do some sort of design for the cover of the front and also the back of the cover. Now, the title of our document is going to be Nebulae, which is plural for nebula. In my case, it could be as simple as putting a picture on the front. So I'm going to grab my frame tool, and we're working on the first page. Let's drop in any one of these pictures that we like. And I really liked, let's do this horseshoe nebula. So there it is for this. I'll grab my type tool, type out the word nebulae in all caps, Nebulae. We'll make it nice and large. You can choose the same fonts that we were working in, so I liked the look of this one. And again, I'll make it, let's go much larger, nice and big. I've given you a logo to put on here, so let's go to File and Place. We'll back up to the calendar folder, and here's the logo in a variety of different formats, both a white and full color. Let's do the white version so it'll show up. I'll click and drag and add that to the bottom corner here. And then finally, we'll center this inside of this one. If we wanted to do some special effects to get the nebula to show up a little bit better, maybe I'll place it and let's put a color on top of it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. The other thing you can do is to open up your effects panel by going to Window, down to Effects, and let's change out some of our blending modes. Blending modes give you the ability to change it from normal to blend the colors together. Now, depending on the one you select, it's going to give you some different kind of looks to it, like soft light or overlay. Overlay looks really nice because I can see that working through here. It depends on the color you choose and the blending effect, so you can play around with these. Another way to get it to show up a little bit better is maybe to add a drop shadow. To do a drop shadow, with it selected, we can go up and choose the effects up here and add this drop shadow. I've got preview turned on, and you can see the little drop shadow that's being added behind here. Really makes it pop out. You can play around with the settings for yours. The front and back cover don't have to be overly designed. This looks good here. Finally, let's go down to our back cover. And again, I'll leave it up to you how you want to change out this design, but let's add a grid of all of our different months in our year. To do this, let's go to File and Place. Once again, let's go to our Images folder, and we'll select all of our images all at once. We'll say Open. Remember, they're going to follow your cursor. Give it a second to preview all of these. There we go. It's going to follow your cursor, but I'm going to click and drag, and while I'm holding down my mouse, let's hit our right arrow once, twice, and then our down arrow, our up arrow, 1, 2, 3 times. This will give us a nice grid of exactly 12 different frames. Now we don't want to go all the way across. We want to keep them relatively squared off. So I'm holding down the Shift key, or getting them till they're nice and square. That looks good. And when I let go, it'll automatically start to create a picture frame and put our pictures inside of each one of these. With them all still selected, let's go ahead and auto fit these so that they fill up their frames proportionally from edge to edge. With them all selected, I'm also going to hold down Shift and Command, and let's drag these out so that they're all proportionally scaled up. And then finally, maybe I'll scooch each one over, oops, so that they're evenly distributed across my page. All right, with this done, I've got a cover. Make sure you do all of the individual pages inside of this. Let's go up to File, and we're going to save our document. This InDesign document is what you need to turn in to the classroom page.